Folks, what is up? It's me, Ryan. Welcome to the Patreon. Listen, I look horrendous. I did not get great sleep last night, and then I had to wake up super early to do an interview, and it was one of those where I was just, I went to bed late, and then I got scared I was going to sleep through my alarm, so I kept. Do you ever do that where you keep waking up every hour, and you're like, oh my god, I slept through it, and then you're like, oh, 2 more hours, and then I tried to go back to sleep. I got like another hour and a half. It's been quite a week. What are we? This is only Tuesday. Are you kidding me? And you know what? It doesn't make it any better when I have to sit through things like Summer House last night, and then I had to sit through it again to take notes. I had to watch this thing twice. I think it was painful for a lot of you guys to watch it even once. Imagine, Liz, I deserve some sort of damn award or something for sitting through this thing twice. I want to say this off the bat, though. This is something that I keep thinking about is that, listen, I think a lot of us universally agree that this season is not good so far. And it might not be good the entire season. But I think, listen, from being somebody that's obsessive about TV and pop culture my entire life, I think we rush to judgment in writing things off so quickly. I get it. It makes me angry too. It sucks. But you know what? It was so funny. I was trying to put off taking notes on Summer House today, and I was eating a little salad, sitting down, eating a little salad, preparing, trying to get the courage to take notes on Summer House and watch it again. And I turn on the TV, and it's just always on Bravo now. And of course, Bravo is rerunning Vanderpump Rules like a maniac. They are, I mean, they are just running to try to capitalize on this in any way possible, that's what you got to do, right? But it was season 3, episode 18, which I believe is the season finale for season 3. And first off, the whole point is that it reminded me that you can't give up on shows that you like at some point because you never know. We wrote Rules off for like 2 seasons, and then this season and what's potentially to come has been really insanely not only good as a reality show, but good in a way that it gets your heart into it. It's not just the insanity and the hystericalness of what DJ James Kennedy says in such a hypocritical fashion, but it gets your heart into it. And I think that's huge when these shows can make you actually feel something other than laughter. Now, Summer House is bad, and I have a feeling just if you look at the moving parts right now, it's going to be bad all season. I think there's going to be some really intense good moments, but just the pieces all together aren't fitting in any sort of way. It's just weird. The actual relationships in their real lives aren't really hitting. You can tell relationships are falling apart. And, it's so spread out because the whole thesis of this whole thing is what if a bunch of people went to a summer house on the weekends and partied their balls off? That doesn't really work. The new people, I'm not one of those people that are going to write them off. Like, I think Gabby really works, and I think her intricacies and her quirks are such great fodder for reality shows. And Sam, Sam might not be my type of person that I like in real life, but there's some quirk there. Now, Chris, we just don't know well enough. But he's not hitting, or the show is not showing why they cast him. There is a reason I have to believe that he was cast in the first place. It might not be any fault of Chris's own. So I always said this, and I've said this from the beginning of my podcast, is I always felt they needed to sign housewives to 2-year contracts at minimum, because you just can't know anybody in one season. If you listen to any of my Summer House recaps last season, I said it would be a mistake for them to drop Alex because, listen, you're going to have that. If people aren't used to having their daily lives or their weekend lives on camera, there's no way they're all of a sudden going to become a star. Andrea is like 1 in a million. You're not going to find Andrea. He's just so charming. He's probably been like that his entire life. It's not like they put a camera on him and all of a sudden he was like, oh my God, this guy all of a sudden came to life. No, everybody wants to like Andrea. Andrea's great. Andrea's unique. Andrea has that accent. Andrea has those abs, everything that people seem to like in reality shows. So none of the parts that they have right now, and I do feel I want to try to be kind, but it's been a little lazy in terms of just the production of it all, behind the scenes. I just don't know if they were in a rush to get this film, that they didn't really think about what they had. I don't know. I know a lot of hard work goes into this. And of course, we're going to talk throughout is that as much as I love Carl and Lindsay, what I believe is a very real relationship doesn't necessarily translate on screen in the way that it probably translates into their real life, where everybody else in the summer house can have a bug up their butt about their relationship. But guess what? They seem really happy in their relationship. So much so that I feel like when all of these other people start questioning and focusing, it's like so funny. Everybody that's questioning and focusing on it doesn't seem to have stellar relationships themselves. And I always think that's interesting. Like, man, these are two people that genuinely want to be together. So much so that it even annoys me watching them. But like the people that have a problem aren't like the people that are like, damn, well, Paige DeSorbo does know how a relationship works. I mean, she even seems annoyed with Craig half the time. So, but what I've said from the beginning of this season is that this doesn't necessarily translate for fun for the viewer. Kyle's off his rocker. Kyle's insane, and he always has been. But it's another one of those things of how are you going to point out somebody's behavior when your own behavior is so past the point of normalcy? Like and also you can't be the person that tells other people how they are only when you get wasted. Because at the end of the day, what have I said? Or if you're new to me, I always had this theory, or not a theory. I always said you got to be a reliable narrator. A lot of these people are unreliable narrators, so what they say you kind of discard and you laugh at them, or at least don't fall into that trap of just because they're loud and they have a strong opinion does not mean that you have to believe them. Kyle is an unreliable narrator because Kyle is usually wasted. You can't just tell what your truth is when you're wasted and then the next day be like, oh man, I just can't believe all this happened. Well, Kyle, you should be able to believe how this happened because you are the one that has made this happen. Carl and Lindsay, they're annoying, but at no point is Carl like, Kyle, I'm getting in your face. Hey, Kyle, my relationship's so much better. Check this out. My girl wants to hang out with me 24/7. None of that is happening. So Kyle, in the end, as much as he's entertaining, and by the way, if there was no Kyle, and the other thing that I keep saying, and I love that I see everybody online now picking up to what I've been saying from the very beginning, you can't call out to the summer house. Listen, I worked at a movie theater and I got in trouble for calling out one time. Like, what the fuck? It's a privilege to be on TV, and people are like, yeah, I got a family thing and I got this. I don't care about your family thing. Consider the summer house your family thing for the summer. Tell your family you'll see them in the fall. Sayonara. Hopefully we'll be able to pay our rent for the entire 2 years based off this season. Like, I don't have any sympathy for that. Either you want to be on TV or you don't. We don't need to beg people. And listen, like, Carl shouldn't even be going to the summer house with what he's going through. But I just like, I mean, I'm glad everybody has family things. I get family things happen. But if it's not an emergency, like, listen, do you guys remember Carl was there the day he found out his brother had passed away? Like, people have been there for hard things. And that is what they're trying to capture on reality shows. Reality shows are not, hey, show up when it's good for you. Show up when you're emotionally stable. Show up when you're good. That's going to be fun. No. That's not how reality shows work. We don't want you to take a weekend off. Like, even Carl leaving, like, I understand, and we'll get into that scene later. I understand that completely. But dude, that's not... You should have thought about that before you signed up for this season. And that's when I feel like, okay, some of you guys really are doing it for a paycheck, but then don't leave. And if you are doing it for a paycheck, you better come and you better not leave. It's just really that simple. It's that simple. There's other fascinating people out there. That's what sucks, is that, like, you have people like Gabby who I think are gold, and you surround them now with numbnuts or people that are just so used to doing this stuff. Like Paige walked through like a couple scenes towards the end. And listen, if I like Paige or not, it doesn't even matter. Is that Paige is funny. Paige usually does good scene work. And this, you just don't even have anybody good around Paige for her to like be annoying with. Like she's trying to dig in and she's trying to cause things, but there's just not enough things like, okay, we get it. Lindsay, Carl, you guys got to get a different chapter at some point. Like this is going to be the whole season, Lindsay, Carl. Like this is going to be the whole season. And I love the fact that Carl keeps saying, hey guys, first year of sobriety. I mean, like 19 months. I'm trying here. I'm really trying. Like he's like very open about it. And everybody's like, oh, so proud of you, dude. Anyways, I'm going to throw as much shit as you guys as I can. Like they have not taken their foot off the gas in terms of the Lindsay Carl relationship, but they haven't focused to put their foot on the gas on anything else. It is so, so weird. And I can only imagine, I just would think at some point production would have been like, holy shit, we are fucked. We are fucked. And I don't know. We'll see what, because I know the Danielle relationship, the Lindsay, that's falling apart. We're seeing signs of those cracks. Danielle is being included more in the girl group with Sierra and Maya and Paige. And so all those girls, remember this, they have not liked Lindsay for multiple seasons. This isn't something recent. The thing that always does make me curious, though, is Kyle was very close to Lindsay. So, you want to talk about Kyle keeps saying, like, Lindsay's in Carl's ear. First off, yeah, that's usually how relationships work. You're going to get in your partner's ears. That's it. Hopefully you're talking with each other. But the funny thing is, dude, Amanda's obviously gotten in your ear. And I don't mean Amanda's just shit talking Lindsay and so evil. I don't think Amanda's evil, but I think Amanda doesn't like Lindsay. And I think Kyle knows Amanda doesn't like Lindsay. And that has made Kyle not like Lindsay at all and continually say it. But it's just so funny, the projection of Kyle talking to Carl and going like, somebody's gotten in your ear, dude. Somebody got in your ear. Let's go back and watch this show from the beginning, and Kyle and Lindsay were friends. So anyways, that's my opening salvo, my opening remarks. Yeah, gloves are off. I'm not in a good mood. How dare this show? I do want to point out, I was mentioning I was watching the end of season 3, episode 18 of Vanderpump Rules, and it was so dark. I was like, why did I turn it on at this exact moment? But it was Kristen Doty talking to Tom Sandoval, and Sandoval's like, just leave me alone, Kristen. Kristen was with DJ James Kennedy at that time. I always forget that DJ James Kennedy was already in the show on the 3rd season. For some reason, I always forget that maybe it's like he came in with Lala, and I just know that is definitely not true because you add up the Kristen relationship. Anyways, Ariana's in there with Katie and Lisa Vanderpump. Kristen's yelling at Tom, and Tom's yelling at Kristen out back. And then Kristen does this talking head where she was like, Ariana, you win. He's yours. And she goes, well, you have fun with wondering where he is every night, the unanswered text messages and voicemails, wondering where he's at. Have fun with that, Ariana. And Kristen comes in and goes, I said everything I needed to say to your boyfriend, and leaves. And Ariana gives her kind of a smirk. And then Tom comes in and is like, Ariana, do you want to move in with me? And she was like, I would love that. Remember when they moved into his shitty apartment where, the lighting didn't work if you turned on the microwave? But I just thought, how dark. Because in the moment, it's really, when you don't have information and when you see things to be a certain way, you think, and by the way, Doty is wacky. We all know that too. And that's what we loved Doty in the old days, is because she was unabashedly wacky and really self-destructive. Even she says in that, I think then I started watching season 4, episode 1, and she was like, I'm working with my therapist on being less crazy. Like, I think that was literally the line. So she's aware that her behavior, it's not, like, everything's not Tom Sandoval's fault, but it is wild to watch that and go, man, he just is that guy that always wants to be out. And when you're out that much, and when you're out that much without your significant other, things are going to happen. And it takes a lot of trust. And that's why I always just thought, oh, that dude's unbreakable. He's not looking for any other girl, And then somebody said this, I forgot where yesterday. Where is it? I'm trying to think. But somebody pointed out, maybe it was one of you guys, that Sandoval has always depended on cheating to get out of relationships, potentially. If you go into the theory that he cheated on Kristen with Ariana, who knows? But that's wild. He's always looked to cheating as an easy way out without having to do the hard work potentially. It was just a thought I that's been sticking with me. And that's the other, man. I had a bad last day, and I'm getting through it. Everything's great. I mean, everything's not everything's great, but I just Instagram was just getting too much in the last day, and I've been on a little bit today, but it's just wild. It's like at some point we gotta, and I'm not talking about you guys. I'm just talking about the Instagram like memers that do what I do and stuff. He said it's like I don't know how fun this is anymore. Like it just. I'm not finding it insanely funny. I mean, there's elements like that Lala thing, hiring the truck to sell her Send It to Daryl shirts. I found that hysterical and really sad at the same time. And that's where I find a lot of humor is in that pocket of sadness, is that there's like really funny. That's why I thought like Michael Scott in The Office works so well is because it's awkward and it's sad and it's so real. And that's what's funny about him. The commitment. But I don't know. It's like everybody's making the same jokes. Everybody, I'm just like, sometimes I'm just like, man, this isn't even funny. Like, what are you guys? I'm the same way. When I find myself just putting out bad things, I was like, I gotta step back. And I mean, step back in the sense of not posting 5 times a day. Just post once, classy. Like, I don't know if you guys feel that as well, but I feel at this point, it's like we're going to give the information that we get. I'm sitting on a couple of things right now that I want to be able to tell you, but I do have to wait for this one thing to happen, which should happen tomorrow. But I also am I think, trustworthy to people that share things with me. And I would hope you guys would understand that. And once I do, I should just record things ahead of time and go, see, I knew back that, I don't know. Anyways, I'll get off that conversation. So let's get into this Summer House recap right now. And also remember, we're going to do a Patreon live stream that we've been promoting for the last couple of weeks. You guys voted on it. It's tomorrow at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I know for you East Coasters, that's Vanderpump Rules. I'm so sorry. You'll be able to watch that at another time. And listen, I want to watch Vanderpump Rules too, but we're going to have a blast, whoever's with me. I will make sure it is fun. Bring your questions, bring your comments, and bring anything. We'll be talking about all of it. Hopefully I can talk everything I need to about Vanderpump Rules in that live stream to give you as much information as I can. But also Vanderpump Rules, like DVR it, just watch right after that. People will be making memes and talking about it for the next 5 days until the next episode. But what we know to expect from this episode is Raquel says a lot of things that in retrospect will probably be even creepier. We know that very much so. And so this time, this episode is called Summer House, episode 5. And it is entitled, let's find this title, see if it's any good, The Hangover. And I truly feel like I'm having a hangover every time I watch an episode of this season of Summer House. Yay! This is what the cable company says. During a slumber party, a blow-up between Kyle and Lindsay leaves Carl stuck in the middle. You know it's bad when the cable company doesn't even give it a 2-sentence explanation? Because with Vanderpump Rules, they'll have like 4 sentences, like this happens, this happens, this happens, this happens. This person was like, okay, slumber party, blow up, Kyle and Lindsay leave Carl stuck in the middle. Like they're even bored with it. They're even like, does anything even happen in this? And the other thing I wanted to talk about too is the tone is all over the place. Now, tone I usually talk about in terms of like theater or film or TV, but it works for reality shows as well. It's like, what kind of tone are you setting? And the tone of Summer House now is so all over the place. It's like you're having fights at 10:30 at night. Everybody goes to bed the next morning. People are leaving. I guess we should get in the pool. Then we're going back to the big city for work. Like, and then we're back there on the week. The tone, I couldn't even tell you. The tone isn't even just being like, it's dark. It's not that dark. It's dark in some of the fighting, but on the most part, it's just boring. There's a difference. Like darkness, I appreciate if you can actually hold that tone throughout an entire episode. But this, it's like, darkness in the beginning and then a couple references to the darkness from the beginning. Like we keep bringing up, hey, how was last weekend with that slumber party? Hey, how? And that's the other thing. This was all my big complaint about Lisa Vanderpump in Vanderpump Rules the last couple of seasons before this one, was that everybody would have to catch her up with what's going on. Like Paige comes in the second weekend and goes, hey, how was that thing last weekend? How was it? And Danielle has to explain it again. Like Paige, I fucking showed up. I watched the episode. I know what happened. Why do I need to see Danielle explain it to Paige? Paige, do your homework. Find out going in. Say, hey, I heard you guys got into a fight. What was that like? I hate Lindsay. Like, start it off there. Why are we backtracking? Do not explain things to us. We are a smarter, sophisticated audience than they give us credit for sometimes. And I think it's lazy, lazy filmmaking. Lazy reality shows. So we do, like, last time on Summer House, we see a montage of scenes. Andrea, Gabby saying, like, I think you're perfect looking, Andrea. And it's like, oh, thank you. We see that scene from a couple episodes of Chris awkwardly flirting with Sierra, which I don't know why that was in here, because usually they show those scenes so they can let us know what we're about to see. And there was no awkward flirting with Chris or Sierra in this episode. In fact, next week's episode, they show Chris awkwardly dunking somebody in the pool at their party and saying that was awkward. I don't know. Carl with that scene with Kyle a couple episodes ago where he's like, I'm just not feeling valued here. And then, Kyle going, she must be in your ear, dude. And then Kyle saying to Danielle, well, I can make it a heck of a lot easier, I guess, and just fire him. We also see that meeting with Kyle and Carl from last week's episode where, Kyle had to apologize to Carl about saying that he did cocaine at the restaurant. And he's like, I just don't want tension between our girls, and business. I never want to feel like how I'm feeling right now. Dude, the tension between your girls, like, you spur that tension. You stoke the flames of that tension so much to your liking that it almost feels like you're obsessed with it. We had that scene from the slumber party last week where Lindsay says, Amanda affected our friendship by saying Carl is our employee. He works for us. And she's saying, I manipulate my boyfriend. It is ridiculous. And I do know that moment from the reunion, which I keep talking about, where Amanda does say that, an off-camera footage that we got to see. But at the same point, as I go on further, Amanda and Kyle seem to keep using Loverboy as the excuse. But at the end of the day, he is their employee. And that's what Carl even keeps saying in this episode is, oh, it's not even just he's my friend. It's like he's my boss. If he was just my friend, I'd beat the shit out of him. But he's my boss as well. So everybody is using this employee. It just does need to end as a working relationship. And I love that he is not at Loverboy anymore. I don't think that is good at all for any party involved in this. And I'm just tired of him talking about it, by the way. And I'm telling you, once again, these reality stars don't get it. When you get everybody to huff and puff, and it's human nature to do this, to gang up on people, even if it's warranted, it never works in your favor in the long run. It may work out momentarily for the people in the scene, so you might feel riding a high that everybody's agreeing with you, but remember, you might win the episode while you're in the episode, but you won't win the overall show in terms of the viewers. Now, I think it is a different kind of case because I think we are genuinely kind of grossed out by Lindsay and Carl. Not in the sense that I don't want them to be together. It's just the sense of like, ugh, I don't like to watch real love like this. Ugh. Isn't that funny? Also, we in the montage of scenes where Kyle gets drunk and Amanda's crying, like, you don't trust me? And, Kyle comes down. It's like, I love you, man, but careful what you're dealing with, dude. She is a master manipulator. I mean, I hate when things happen because of actual assholes and actual bitches. Kyle, he's a child, man. He's an entertaining child. And then that's where we ended, and we start back up where Kyle walks out and he's like, psycho, and Carl's just sitting there so silently, really creepy silently. And Kyle screams, you guys give Lindsay Hubbard so much power. Kyle, brother, you got to be talking to yourself at that moment because you are giving Lindsay Hubbard the most power. You literally stated her first and last name. Danielle's like, what are you doing, Carl? Go say something to him. And Carl's like, I'm not going to argue with him right now. I'm not going to do that. And then we cut up to Amanda's bedroom with a couple girls surrounding her, and she's like, "I just want to go home with our dogs and go home." She's sobbing, like snot sobbing, like. I'm like, guys, this is the fucking summer house. You were just eating Tostino's pizza rolls and doing like shots of like, Goldschlager, and now you're like snot crying, dude. Like, don't do that. You got, like, none of these people would pass a psych test to get into the summer house. You guys can't even fight effectively. Like, we're sobbing because Danielle, of all people, one of the nicer people in the summer house, said, "Hey, I guess Amanda I don't trust. You don't trust me?" Like, what the fuck? Like, I thought I'm going crazy, and I like Amanda, but man, I sometimes feel like reality shows have really gotten to Amanda. She seems like a genuinely nice person. I don't even want to say reality stars. Maybe being with Kyle has really gotten to her. It's very similar, and I'm not saying that Kyle is cheating, but it is very interesting. Kyle is also potentially a narcissist, and it's like the women behind these narcissists usually are fabulous women. I don't know. Maybe everybody's a narcissist. You're a narcissist. Let's overuse the word narcissist. So Danielle tries to even go up to talk to Amanda, like, this is ridiculous. And Maya blocks the doorway. Like, Maya, I get that. This is the other thing. I get that Amanda and Kyle are your friends off camera, but also you're not the gatekeeper. You're also not the person that pulls Sam aside and tells her, like, don't talk as much. We've all been talking about you. This isn't your place. Like, you can't gatekeep things like you're doing. And I just noticed that in the past couple of episodes, and I really like Maya. I think Maya's fascinating on her own accord. And I'm not saying don't be friends with Kyle and Amanda, but you've got to let situations play out. We protect and gatekeep in real lives. This isn't real lives and how we handle things. This is a reality show. Tom Sandoval, in fact, by the way, in the interview I did with him last January, told me, and this has always stuck with me, our normal lives, we run away from conflict. In reality shows, they make you run into conflict. And there's a very big difference. So we can't have people blocking it. And the other thing that makes me mad about that is everybody says, "Oh, Danielle, it puts herself in the middle of Lindsay and defends Lindsay." It's like, what are all you other girls doing? So you're not as vocal? Well, you're physical. Maya's blocking the door. Sierra's like, defend. Like, what is that then? I think, like, it's just one of those things. It's like one person says it, and it's usually Paige, and then those girls just run with it as gospel. I'm sorry, but I just feel that's the truth. And I think Maya's like, dude, Maya has enough clear thoughts on her own where she doesn't need to, like, I just feel like usually it comes down from Paige or Kyle, and then everybody kind of runs with it. So Gabby's the only one that followed Kyle outside, and he's like, "Let's talk about the elephant in the room, Lindsay Hubbard." I mean, the elephant in the room genuinely is probably Kyle's drinking when he gets upset. And then Gabby's the only one out there, and Gabby's like, Kyle, no one's actually hearing you at all. Carl, by the way, has gone to his bedroom, and Kyle's screaming, "What are you gonna do now, Carl? Carl." It's just so funny. Kyle genuinely thinks Kyle is begging Carl to have a fight with him. Kyle is needing this fight. And this is where Kyle, I feel like, is genuinely a wacko. I do like Kyle, but genuinely a wacko, but also trying to get a scene going. Like, I don't think it's fake. I think he's genuinely angry, but he's also like, "I know what you did last summer. Come at me." He's just screaming in the backyard. Carl, by the way, this was, he takes his mic pack off because they wear these mic packs around their, underneath their shirts, and it's like Velcro, and you can take it off, and that's where your mic pack is because, they need to get clear sound, and he throws it on this, off of the steps. And Carl, this is where I'm going to have to fine you. I'm going to have to fine you $1,000 for this. You can't do it, man. And you can't do it. And we know why he's doing it. We even get a reminder later on in a scene with his mother why he's doing it. But it doesn't fly for reality shows. And if you were worried about and this is what I even talked when I did that interview with him, I was like, I was worried about Carl. And I said this even before filming. I was worried about him filming because if you're really working on trying to be a better person and you're dealing with an addiction, is the place for you reality television. We've even seen how they do it with DJ James Kennedy, where they're like, okay, James, it's fine that you drink, you know. I'm not, yeah, I just want a glass of Cabernet. I'm going to be good. Of course. By the way, season 3 I was watching, Lisa was talking about DJ James Kennedy's drinking. We've had 7 seasons of worried about DJ James Kennedy's drinking. It's just that he's really fun and funny. So everybody's like, I guess you're an asshole. You can do it. You know, it's not real concern. Real concern is, well, we're going to kick you off the show because we're concerned for you. They don't really, Lisa doesn't really care about these people, you know? But my thing with Carl is like, yeah, man, you shouldn't do this. You shouldn't have to be taking your mic off for the audience, and you shouldn't have to put yourself in that position for money. And you shouldn't do that to your crew. You shouldn't do that to your cast members. You are responsible for doing a show. And I see that you're going through it. We see that he's going through it. I believe this is completely real. And how strong of him to be able to not drink, to, you know, these are all triggers for him, but, you know, very strong of him, but also very stupid of him because, you know, he is putting money before his own health. And I think he got out of this, he got out of this alive. But I'm just curious how it's going to affect his overall relationship with Bravo in the long run, because already I'm seeing so many mean comments about him and this. So, you know, so Maya and Danielle are outside of Amanda's room. Amanda's crying, and Carl says, listen, I'm incredibly angry and frustrated. One of my best friends is yelling at my girlfriend, and if he wasn't my boss, you know, it would be very different. Old Carl would beat the fuck out of him and fight, but that is what old Carl would do, and I don't want to have to live like that. He's saying that in a talking head. Kyle, by the way, still going off outside. He's like, she completely brainwashed my best friend. Everything stems back from Lindsay Hubbard. Like, you know, dude, Kyle can't find cookie dough in the kitchen tonight. He's like, Lindsay took it. What did Lindsay eat all the cookie dough? It's like, you can't blame, like, everything wrong in Kyle's life is, I can guarantee you, is nothing to do with Lindsay Hubbard, except that he misses his buddy. You know, that's it. And Lindsay says, so the girls are in the room talking to Amanda and, saying that whole text exchange that, they're saying, oh, Lindsay says that, you texted her that I guess, you're sorry, and she never texted back. I don't know. You guys, I stopped caring, but they keep talking about this whole text thing. But basically, Amanda kind of reached out and said, I guess I owe you an apology. And that was it after Lindsay texted her initially. And then Lindsay never texted back after that because it didn't seem that genuine. So Sierra says to Amanda, Lindsay is obsessed trying to say that you're a bully. And I don't think Amanda is a bully, but I do think Amanda has a very specific opinion about Lindsay that is not changing anytime soon. And Amanda's like, I'm a bully? More of that, I'm not trusted and I'm a bully. Lindsay is downstairs talking to Sam, and Lindsay's like, hey, it is very clear after all these years that Amanda doesn't like me. And Sam's like, well, no, she feels the same way, Lindsay. And Lindsay goes, no, it's different because I don't speak shit about Amanda and she speaks shit about me. That's what it is. And I will say that is the thing. You don't, like, Lindsay starts talking about it when everything explodes. Amanda talks about it here and there if we just go by the show. And Carl is still yelling outside going, good luck to Carl. It's a package deal of chaos. Package deal of chaos is such a great phrase. Danielle, now Chris walks in, and Danielle's talking to Chris, and it's like, man, I'm watching Carl sit there while his girlfriend is getting yelled at. What the fuck is that? Now we have Chris, Andrea, Lindsay, Danielle. They're talking in the kitchen, and Danielle's like, yeah, like she's getting annihilated. He's just sitting there. Danielle in a talking head goes, Lindsay in a talking head says, do I wish Carl would say something? Yeah, but I do understand he's trying to learn how to communicate his feelings and emotions as a sober person. This was a very key talking head for me in terms of Lindsay, because Lindsay understands what he's going through. And this is why another reason I didn't think he should be on the show in the first place. What I imagine and what I've heard from friends and what I've read is that when you've relied so heavily on a crutch like alcohol or drugs for so long, you have to learn to do everything again. It's like learning how to walk again. Everything and nothing feels right. Everything feels awkward. I don't. Everything feels out of place. Having to put one foot in front of the other, because every situation that you've dealt with it by like drugs and alcohol, and that's how you've learned to live through these situations. Now you don't have that, and you don't know what it's like, and you're having to relearn those things. And I think Lindsay is around Carl so much that she completely understands that. And listen, of course, every girl wants their dude to stand up for them. And he wants to stand up for her too. I don't think he was coward. I just think he was afraid of exploding so much that he would then be driven to do something that he might not have control over and hurt himself. And that's why they try to encourage you to stay single for at least a year in sobriety, because you don't want to have to, you're so busy having to look after yourself. You don't want to have to take on other people and their foibles as well. And you know what I'm saying? So it's a really complicated road, I'm sure. And then Kyle goes to bed and goes, everyone can suck a fat dick. Well, good night to you as well, Kyle. Good night to you as well. Kyle, everyone can suck a fat dick. That's a master communicator. That's somebody that has a point. He said it. Amazing, real. I think Abraham Lincoln said that. I think it was, I don't know what address it was, but he was known for, he was like, at 40 and everyone can suck a fat dick. Kyle walks into the room with Amanda. Gabby's downstairs and goes, I'm simultaneously too young and too old for this. Kyle to Amanda goes, I'm tired of Lindsay getting away with murder. I wrote at this point, none of this makes sense. Lindsay's not getting away with murder. Kyle, you're the one that started all this. In fact, Danielle's comment started all over this. It's just that Lindsay started talking and going, yeah, Amanda, like, it's so funny. Sam now goes into Amanda's room, and I just kept thinking, these poor newbies, these newbies aren't really even getting a chance to shine, because we're dealing with like old demons of of things that happened when these newbies weren't even there. If anything, I really wish they would just do what more Vanderpump is doing and make the cast watch every season. Like, by the way, you're telling me some of these people haven't watched the show. I don't even believe it to begin with, but make them fucking watch every season. What I would love if Sam goes, oh my God, I just want to point this out. I don't know if you remember this. In season 3, Lindsay, Amanda said this to you. And like, I want that shit. Let's bring it in. Let's remind people of the history of this show, because sometimes these people forget about it. I think it's sometimes these things are more ingrained in our minds, the viewers, than it is theirs. Gabby goes, I'm exhausted after week 3. And Lindsay goes, imagine 7 years. And then I shit you not, she cackles. She goes, imagine 7 years. Amanda's upstairs talking about that damn text message exchange again. Amanda and I talking, and goes, yeah, I'm sorry I hurt you, but I understand, he's your boyfriend. But the least I can do is say I'm sorry. This was the Lindsay text message. And then she didn't respond to that. Kyle goes, Lindsay's a horrible person. Yes, Kyle, you've said it now a billion times. Lindsay's a horrible person, and my best friend thinks he's going to marry her. Oh, wait, I just got Kyle Chrisley was arrested for aggravated assault in Tennessee. Oh, maybe he can go to the same prison as his daddy. Well, tough noogies. Maybe I'll mention that in tomorrow's show. But I'm tired. I already did a great interview this morning that you're going to hear tomorrow from the Hollywood Raw guys that used to work for TMZ. Really great interview. We talked about the Schwartz thing. But I'm going to need a break tonight. I'm already... So Kyle goes... Yeah. So anyways... Everyone's going to bed. By the way, Andrea is in a bed with Chris and his little tidy whities. They're blue, but they're little tidy whities on his little butt. He's like, he wears little tight. I love that. Come on. That's great, man. Lindsay comes into the room where Carl's like just thinking, and she goes, hey, babe, like nothing's gone wrong. And Carl's like, hey, I'm sorry I didn't say what, I'm sorry I didn't say anything. I'm sorry I didn't say what I should have said. And Lindsay goes, I'm not upset at you. I'm not upset at you. Which is really understanding. I mean, I'm sorry. I really think for those two people, they understand each other. You guys might not like it, but I might not even like it, but I think they do. Kyle, back to Kyle, goes, I should have said what I said. I shouldn't have said what I said, but I don't regret it. We go back to Carl, and Carl goes, I could bury that dude over and over and over again. Because you got to imagine, Carl's seen a lot of bad behavior on Kyle's part. You know what I'm saying? We cut to 4 boxes. Blink, 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 blink. Summer house. They're all sleeping. Maya and Sierra are in bed. Maya always, Maya loves to fall asleep to watching TV because her computer's always open on her bed. Andrea wakes up and Chris is like, how you feeling, buddy? He's like, not that good. I'm not that good. He's like getting up in his little blue tidy white. He's like, I don't feel good. Kyle is talking to Amanda the next morning. He's like, the challenging part is like not saying mean things, but like I'm saying accurate things. And Amanda's like, yeah, but it's like hurtful things. We cut back to Carl, and Carl goes, dude, I don't want to talk or communicate with anyone today. I have nothing to say. Cut back to Amanda. Amanda goes, you got to make a better effort, Kyle, about not letting mine and Lindsay's relationship affect your relationship with you and Carl. Like, women are always way more. I mean, listen, Amanda was completely out of pocket and emotional. I think booze and a lot of other things had something to do with that. But Amanda already is thinking like 100% more clear than Kyle. Like, also, I just feel like this is such an easy answer, too, of like, yo, Kyle, if you have these unresolved feelings, it doesn't mean hit the bottle harder. I mean, it means that for us, the audience, we potentially want that. But like, if Carl, is not going to fight back with you, why are you doing this? Are you doing this just to pick on people? Like, or why are you doing this? Like, if anything, I just feel like that spotlight is somehow going to turn around at some point and go, Kyle, you have a drinking problem. You're also the CEO of an alcohol company. Why would I trust you with my money when you are completely getting wasted every weekend and you can't control yourself? You're not even having fun anymore. You're getting angry. And would I want a CEO of an alcohol company that is getting angry every time they drink? It doesn't make me feel good about drinking. You don't want people that drink to question their own behavior when they drink. It's like that simple. So Lindsay goes, what do you think you want to do? Do you want to leave? And he's like, I don't want to be here at all. It's like dumb and stupid, and I don't need this. Kyle, I can't call Kyle a friend. Like, I'm fucking done. Maya is calling Oliver, her boyfriend, and she's like, I'm exhausted. I don't know what happened last night, but it's World War III all of a sudden. It was like worse than what I told you when Craig did that to Lindsay a couple seasons ago. And then we flash back to last summer when Craig's throwing a hissy fit. He's like, Lindsay sucks. Lindsay always sucks. Everybody always thinks Lindsay sucks, but also I want to say Lindsay sucks because sometimes she points out the behavior of these bad boys. Like the bad boy of podcasting himself. This guy. But you know what I'm saying? Like, she pointed out, like, Austin's behavior, wackadoo. Craig's behavior, wackadoo. And guys don't like that. Guys really don't like that. Lindsay is more of a dude than some of the dudes on Summer House. So don't think you can be, you can be annoyed at her all you want. But, like, I feel like these dudes should bro out with Lindsay. And I think sometimes that's Lindsay's thing. That's why she's friends with more guys than she is girls sometimes. We cut to Danielle, Gabby, and Sam in bed talking. Sam says to Danielle, you and Amanda can get through this. And Sam all of a sudden says a really annoying word. Sam goes, I'm going to get up and get a snacky. I know a lot of you guys might say snacky. It's like when you go, I need to go to the potty. What are the other words? I don't know, for some, like snacky. Well, you know who has snacky? Preschoolers. They can have a snacky. But, when you, like, let's not have a snacky when we're in our 30s. Let's not have snackies. Let's have snacks. And Gabby's like, yeah, let's get some pizza rolls and a day beer or a morning beer. We cut to Maya coming in to hug Amanda in her room. And I do feel like battle lines are drawn in some ways. Not even battle lines, but it's just a clear delineation of who doesn't like each other and who does. And a lot of people don't like Carl and Lindsay. And I'll go even further than that. I just don't think people like Lindsay. Chris comes into the kitchen. And somebody asks him, how did you sleep? And he goes, on my back. Waka, waka, waka. Yeah, Chris has got to chill with the dad jokes. But listen, and Lindsay says, well, yeah, and that bedroom is hot. And Chris goes, yeah, because me and Andrea are in there. Ha ha, waka, waka, waka. Chris, in a talking head, goes, summer's supposed to be fun, but this isn't fun. And I'm like, Chris, you're damn right. And we can't blame Chris for that. Andrea comes in and goes, good morning. And Andrea goes, until 10:24 p.m. last night, everything was going good. You ladies, all you ladies in the kitchen, you have beautiful personalities. Imagine being hit with this in the morning. Like, from like a dreamboat looking guy. And then he goes to Gabby, I've never asked you, what type of guy do you like? And Gabby's like, actually, Andrea, you're my type. And he's like, oh, really? Okay, thank you. I have a lot of friends for you in Italy. Huh? Carl and Lindsay are rolling their bags down like they're getting ready to head out. Andrea brings Sierra in her tea, and she's like, oh, thank you. He's like, yeah, it's a morning tea. Sam says to Carl, you guys headed out early? And he's like, yep. And Danielle goes, you guys are leaving? You're leaving early? And he's like, yeah, it's just a lot of complicated things here. I'm 37 years old. I don't need to yell and scream to get my point across. Which you could say, yeah, he's talking about the Kyle situation, but he's very pointed in saying that to Danielle, because Danielle was the one like, why are you doing anything, Carl? But that, I think, is to Danielle of like, I don't need to yell and scream to get my point across. If somebody is sober, why are they expected to match the anger of somebody that's drunk? By the way, I would fall completely for this. I would like get into a fight with Kyle immediately. It does take a second, but I understand how it can look to somebody like Danielle. But it is interesting when you are clear-headed in terms of not polluting your body with the alcohol that I dearly love at times, you think very differently. Danielle's like, God, stupid shit at the slumber party. Amanda gets up and goes to talk to Danielle. They both apologize behind a closed door. I don't know why the camera wasn't in there for this. Danielle's like, I'm so sorry. I didn't expect what would happen like last night. And Amanda's like, I'm so sorry too. You know, girls have such more level-headed a day after. In a talking head, Amanda goes, I can forgive Danielle because I feel her apology is sincere. And, you know, she's a protective person and all she wants to be is a good friend. But man, she fights Lindsay's battle like no other. And I'm telling you once again, guys, everybody does that. It's just that Danielle's good at it. She's effective at it. Some of those other girls that fight Amanda's battles aren't good at it. I think sometimes they're upset at Danielle because she effectively does it. She shuts people down. She's good at defending. And a lot of people aren't good. They'll try to defend their friends, but they're not good at it. And that can get annoying. Sierra comes in to Kyle and Amanda's bedroom and she's like, oh, is everybody going home? Blah, blah. And Kyle's like, oh, I was just trying to mentally get to a place to have the right words to talk to Carl. And like, I went downstairs and they're gone. And Sierra and Amanda are like, are you kidding? No, are you kidding? Oh my God. Like, is it that fucking like, are you kidding? Kyle's now exploded 2 or 3 weekends in a row. One of the weekends saying Kyle did cocaine at the office, or Carl did cocaine at the office. And now it's like he said, you know, don't worry, you know, Carl is going to be totally different. And then this happens. So yeah, he left. Of course he shouldn't leave because he's on a reality show, but like, it's not that big of a shock. And then Kyle goes, I don't know what to do anymore. Like, I wish I knew how to bite my tongue. You know, and like, just, I guess I have to be careful what I say in front of Carl. Yeah, man. Yes. You, like, I always love when people know the answer and they say it, but they're like, fucking still don't know what to do. I'm going to say the right answer, but hopefully it'll come to me. If only I knew. There's no way I could be involved in this. Hopefully God will point me in the right direction, because who knows? Because I don't know what to do anymore. I can tell you a couple things just right off the top of my head watching what you could do. Maybe not drink. Like, and also, I've drank Loverboy. It doesn't fuck you up that much, honestly. In a talking head, Kyle's like, I regret saying harsh things, you know, in haste. And now I have to apologize, you know, but I guess they're a package deal, Carl and Lindsay, so I have to apologize. Yeah, I mean, it's a package deal. I love he says this like it's so demeaning. It's like, you and Amanda are a package deal too. Like, I just so sorry to put you out with having to apologize when you're kind of in the wrong and having to apologize. And Amanda goes, hey, if you did something bad, you have to apologize unless you're not sorry. In a new scene, Andrea, Danielle, Chris, Gabby, they're all on the pool. Sam, everybody's trying to have a little bit of a fun pool day. Andrea takes off his shirt and everybody's like, ga, 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 zoinks. Sam's diving in the tool. I don't know, you guys. It's like the B team. You know, it's like they're all kind of new and like stragglers, and you don't have the cohesiveness. You need leaders in this house. Like, believe me, I don't want Craig Conover there, but at least this, I just, I don't know. This is where you really see that it's lost because it's like, okay, let's get some pool footage. And I'm like, why am I watching this? Like, what are we doing here? What are we doing? Like, yeah, man, I hope you guys are enjoying that pool. The sun's nice out. I don't know. Like, this is when I felt super like bored. Andrea, Kyle, and Amanda are all saying goodbye to each other, and I mean, it's like, hey, at least we didn't fight during the Italian dinner. And Andrea's like, ciao, I love you, ciao, ciao. And Kyle goes, another disastrous weekend. But all of a sudden, folks, we're in the big city. It's Monday. We see Gabby doing a city bike. She's city biking to her some kind of job. We see Kyle in his home with Reese and Ryder. They're puppies. They have a distributor issue. And this is another bone of contention, a point of problem for me with Summer House. I get that they have lives in the big city. Very exciting, right? This show doesn't make these lives exciting in the big city. Do you think me watching Gabby pull up a city bike makes me feel anything? Do you think me watching Kyle talk to somebody on the phone going, sorry, I couldn't make that Zoom meeting, I had a distributor issue? I don't give a shit. Honestly, I'm so sorry I'm being gruff, but like, I know they live in New York, in the big city, and you make the big city seem not fun. If you're going to show scenes in the big city, have a point behind it. Make sure there's a point of why you're doing this. Now, this leads up to Sam, Gabby, and Gabby's sister, Danielle. They're playing tennis in the big city. Now, okay, Gabby lets us know her dad wanted her daughters to be like Venus and Serena Williams. He wanted to be Richard Williams so bad. And she's very codependent with her family, like we know. And her sister, it's like two parts of, one person. But now that she's gone, she misses her so much. Sam says they're shooting. Sam goes, Gabby, you got a good ground stroke. Sports looks good on you. Sam says a lot of annoying shit like that. Sports looks good on you. Ooh, sport. Try on that sports. Ooh, it's just your size. God. And Sam goes, my neck game is strong, so don't let me get up there. Okay, Sam, we won't let you get up there. The other Danielle from Summer House actually comes in. She's all excited. She just bought a new tennis outfit, even though she's never really played tennis. They take a water break. I don't know. This was another pointless scene. It's good. I liked meeting Gabby's sister, Danielle. It's good. But I just feel like, okay, it's like the show is trying, but I don't know what it's trying to do. Gabby lets us know the week has been so crazy work-wise. She's between job offers. She has therapy tomorrow. In a talking head, she said, I've been working in the fashion industry since college. I was a fashion director at a magazine that I really, really wanted to be at and was one of the worst jobs of all time. She had signed an NDA and because she got fired. And with these job offers coming in, she feels like her intuition has been broken. And she lets him know, she goes, you know, guys, I'm a Taurus. I like security. I don't want to take a step without knowing where I'm going to land. I'm a Taurus as well. And I hate that I don't really know that much about astrology, but this is so me. It's so me. Like I really like security. Because it's so scary. Like, listen, I was at my acting job over 11 years, right? Like I like security. It takes a lot for me to get the courage to make leaps. Like this podcast was a leap, and I'm about to make another leap, which hopefully I'll be able to tell you guys in a second, but I'm scared. I'm scared, you guys. I'm scared. And I didn't know that. It's good to know that's a Taurian quality. It's true. Danielle says, her sister says, I want you to feel like you can trust yourself again, Gabby. You're gun shy because you don't want to make the wrong choice. You need to focus on what you want. And that actually was good. Probably boring for you guys, but I needed to hear that in the moment. And sometimes I'm like, yes, I need to think about what I really want and go for that, even if it's scary. We cut to New Jersey, and this is Carl and his mom. And they're having a little beach walk. They're at Asbury Park. Asbury Park, very famous for so many reasons, but I always love to hear about the old Bruce Springsteen shows in Asbury Park. And he actually has an album called Greetings from Asbury Park. And the mom's like, well, always, Carl, great to see you. And he's like, I miss you. I know you miss me. And he says, they're walking on the beach, and he says, my mom is an anchor in my life. She knows I'm good. She knows I'm going to be good at overcoming things, and she She wants. She says it's loving her is one of the best feelings you can have as a human. And he says, I miss you and I know you miss me, but I'm trying to grow up, Mom. And she says, do you find it and Mom's really funny. I like his mom. He says, do you find it a pain in the ass living with a girl, living with Lindsay? And he's like, no, it makes me want to be a better person, you know? She said, I haven't had a drink in 19 months. And she supports me with that. She encourages me with that, you know? And she's helping me find out who, she makes me want to be a better man. And he says, I want to be able to find out what I want and what I stand for as a person without alcohol. And the mom goes, listen, we struggle with that. We struggle with all of those things until the day we die. And isn't that the truth, man? And that was a hard scene for me. In a talking head, I don't know how to hit pause. I used to hit pause on Zoom, and I don't know how to hit pause on this the StreamYard app, and so I have to keep going. In a talking head, Carl says, when someone you consider a friend hurts your feelings big time, it hurts, and there's a deep anger in Kyle, and I'm not sure how to handle that. Carl knocks it out of the park with that one as well. There is a deep anger in Kyle. Like, he really, Kyle's fascinating. The mom says, I want you to be content and happy, and that's all I wanted for you and for Curtis. And Carl says, my brother will always, because remember his brother passed away, and he said, my brother will always have a lasting impact on me, and in a lot of ways he saved my life. I saw how it could have ended up for me if I didn't take things seriously. I would of course take him back in a heartbeat, but he's always a guiding light for me. So, okay, that scene's over. Okay, so now we're at Friday. Okay, Chris and Sam and Gabby are in the car driving to the summer house. Gabby just went and got her hair did. She says Davina is looking good. That's what she calls her hair. She says we are in a good place. Chris asks, what do you have planned for this disco party of yours this weekend, Gabby? And I guess Gabby is throwing a Studio 54ist party. And Gabby's like, I love Studio 54 as a theme, and our house lends to the perfect setting. Disco balls, some men, and we are good. And I'm like, yeah, man, just get more people, please. Like, I mean, do people just not want to come to the summer house? Like, fuck, I would have come to the summer house. Like, this is ridiculous. We cut to the house. Danielle gets there, and Paige is just in there by herself. Like, that's how boring this fucking season is. Paige is just in there, and she's like, hey. Danielle's like, hey. How was last weekend? And Daniel's like actually trying to think about, we had a slumber party and we played a few games and then it ended dramatically. And I intentionally hurt Amanda's feelings. And then Lindsay kind of piggybacked on some Amanda stuff. And then Kyle yelled and Carl and Lindsay left early in the morning. And then I don't think they've spoken, which by the way, they haven't spoken. I am beginning to wonder what kind of work is Loverboy. Is Loverboy the kind of place that Kyle and Carl wouldn't speak during the week? Like, I am getting legitimately confused about how they do run Loverboy. I'm having some questions now because, like, why wouldn't they have spoken at this point? I'm so confused. Kyle and Amanda, by the way, they're at a family reunion. They'll be with us tomorrow. So they're not with us on Friday night because you don't have to show up to the summer house. You just don't. You don't have to show up, you guys. We don't even know who's going to be there. It's just, people will be there. Like, fuck it. Just put in stand-ins at this point. This is so ridiculous. And also then treat it like Winter House. Start filtering in other cast members. Put people from Family Karma. Put people from Married to Medicine. If you don't have somebody in there, if you're not in there, Kyle and Amanda, you find 2 replacements. Fucking Sheena would kill to get in there. Put Ariana in there. Are you kidding me? And if you don't start coming, we're going to tell them to bring their kids too, so it gets extra annoying for you. We cut to their parents' house where Kyle is right now, and they're having a good time. And Danielle says, yeah, being with family is good for the soul. Yeah, it is. When you're not filming the summer house, it's good for the soul. If you want family time, give them a call, FaceTime them. It's now a good time for the summer house, which should be good for our souls. Summer house shoots in, say it with me, The summer. Paige says, as I get older, I only want to hang out with my parents. And I'm like, that I totally feel that. It's true. I totally want to hang out with my parents all the time. Or like, it is funny. There's that natural thing where you grow up with your parents, you stray away from them, find yourself, and then you just kind of want to come back anyways. If you were lucky enough, like I was, to have a family, that's pretty much stayed together. Not we have tons of problems, but you know what I'm saying. Like I genuinely I like to see my niece and nephew. I like it. I like it more and more as I get older. I'm very sad to yeah. Sam, Chris, and Gabby come in. They all go outside. Sierra and Maya pull up. Sierra comes in, pours a huge glass of rosé. She's wild, you guys. Sam's outside telling everybody that she went on a date with a guy named Tim. Tim and Randy aren't great names. I'm just going to say it right now. And Tim sent her a car. So he's like, and the date ended good, she said. The date ended happily. And she goes, everyone was satisfied. Ooh, girl, did you guys make love? She says she met Tim before Memorial Day weekend in Montauk, and it was the best date she's been on in a year plus. And she goes, I have high standards. Of course you do, Sam. I have high standards. The odds that he can meet my standards and that he still likes me, it's a lot to ask. But, I really like him, which means that it's probably not going to work. Paige asks, hey, what's your dating like, Chris? Are you dating? And he's like, yeah, I've been going on dates, but like no one for a second date, no one serious. And Paige goes, do you take him to dinner or drinks? And he's like, oh, no, never dinner. I mean, with dinner, you're committed to like 2 hours minimum. You got to order food. You got to wait for the food. You got to eat the food. And would you really want to eat food if you didn't like me from the start? And Paige goes, yeah, if I'm hungry. I do think sometimes you get that initial feeling from somebody, but sometimes people can surprise you. And Chris doesn't seem like he's in a place, and especially thinking about to what he said his mom said about not letting him have like serious relationships when he was younger. Chris probably has a lot of relationship issues, which is another reason why I'm curious why they cast him. I don't know. And especially if he's bad at flirting, like we saw with Sierra. I don't know. I'm just questioning a couple things. Gabby says, well, I had a date this week with a Taurian guy, and it's like, no way. And I'm a Taurian guy, and I'm like, and Gabby's a Taurus, so I guess do Taurus and Taurus not match up? I hate living life by astrology, and I think that's one of the reasons why I fight against learning more about it. And everybody's like, well, yeah, you kind of close a lot of doors before they should be closed, Gabby. And Danielle says, we need an emergency session with your therapist on this one. And then Sierra goes, well, that's crazy. Some of my closest friends are Tauruses. Anyways, like Sierra throwing a little shot out there. Sierra trying to sow her third season oats, Lindsay and Carl get there. Hey, everybody. Sierra asks how Carl's doing because Carl's inside getting everybody's drinks. And, Sierra's like, you guys left damn fast last week. And Lindsay says, well, Kyle was saying all that shit about me. And Gabby says, Carl was too calm while that was happening. Do you think it'll be weird when Kyle gets here tomorrow? And Lindsay goes, I don't know. We cut to Friday, 5:48 p.m. Everybody's going out to the bar tonight. Everybody's like, it is hotter than the devil's playground in here. We see it's 85 degrees in the summer house. No wonder nobody wants to be in the fucking summer house. Air condition that thing. Paige says, Maya, Paige, and Sierra are changing into their room. And this is where you ladies, I feel like you guys don't tell me things. Like, I don't like, Paige is like staring at Sierra naked, and she goes, I never really looked at your vagina before. It is so cute and tiny. And Maya's like agreeing because she agrees with everything Paige says. And she goes, oh my God, it's very dainty. Do you girls like judge each other's vaginas? Like, I swear to God, I've never been around, like I've been around naked with guys, like in like shower situations, like, but we've never been like, oh my God, look at your big dong. Oh my God. That's a big mound of pubic hair. That's crazy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, do you girls like sit there and like rate each other's vaginas? Tell me more about this. Like, this could have been 30 more minutes of this particular conversation. Like, I was like riveted. I was like, wait, we're judging vaginas? Like, we're saying dainty vagina. What does a dainty vagina even mean? What does that mean? Is Sierra's vagina on Ozempic? We're once again reminded that Amanda and Kyle are in New Hampshire. Everyone is in the summer house is drinking before they go out. They're doing vodka shots, and Paige is like, "Oh, it burns every time." And Carl's like, let's get out of here. They're at the bar. Carl's ordering a Red Bull. Everybody's doing green tea shots. And then we hear Lindsay and Carl have separated from the group. And by the way, I didn't give a fuck. I was like, they're separated from the group and they're just loving on each other. And she's like, why are you so handsome all the time? You wake up handsome. Why are you so good looking all the time? Man, that's like, that sounds nice to be told that all the time. Danielle is watching them and she's just like, I can't sometimes. And I'm talking to her, she's like, I'm just not used to seeing them isolating themselves. It's a new dynamic. It's like, hey, remember me? I'm still Danielle. I will say I empathize with Danielle. I know this hurts, but it doesn't, once again, that doesn't make it a bad thing. It doesn't make their love a bad thing. I know it sucks for Danielle, but it doesn't mean it's wrong. And I feel like that's like nobody's leaving room for that. Also, when you're in your 30s and stuff like that, you do know what you want quicker because you've been through so many failed things that I would think that you would know when something's a little more right. I could be wrong, but that's also another thing is that, yeah, it might be going quicker than everybody else in the summer house wants it to, but they've been going through so much. Or Lindsay especially has been through so many bad relationships that we've seen. Carl, I think, there is a valid point to be worried about him just because of his sobriety, and this is all a lot, but who knows? It seems like he does get great strength from Lindsay. What would scare me, though, to be honest, and I hope we don't see that this season, is that if Lindsay and Carl get into a fight, if Lindsay gets mad at Carl, what does that do to Carl? Especially if she's such a support system to him. Everybody's dancing. I guess it's kind of fun. Sam's like, let's talk to boys. Sam's shaking her butt. And Carl's like, that thing I bet brings all the boys to the yard. What is it with these guys and the stupid ass jokes? They all go back home. Carl's taking off Lindsay's shoes in the bedroom. Gross. Like, I'm just like, oh no, they're going to do. He's like, there you go, Tootsies. Maya is in the bedroom drunk and she's like, I'm not washing my face. Who do you think I am? Sam's in the bedroom going, that's a fun night. And Gabby goes, it makes me re-examine myself based on what people, see me as. It's interesting. Like, I feel like I've been very secure and set as a person with what I know I want and what I go after. But I have some real repressed trauma that has affected me to a point where I question my judgment, especially where I'm choosing to work. Now, it's this relationship, I think, is what she's talking about, that she's talked about the past couple of episodes, seems to like heavy trauma. And it's been years since this has happened. So it's wild when it just makes me sad when people can't, trying to get over something and can't get over it. But I've also talked to that many times on the pod when I've made a couple, you guys know me, like I've mentioned a couple times where I don't really follow, I usually am not sure what I want sometimes, a lot of the times. And the two times I was like, I'm absolutely sure I've been wrong about. And it does rock your confidence because you're like, this is why I don't make decisions. It does really play mental games with you. So I totally, but this is what I'm saying. Like, this is why I think also Gabby is a great reality show character because, she might be a little wacky, which works, but also there is actual reasons behind it that she explains. And I when I'm actually starting to think about how somebody else feels and why they do, means they're working, in my opinion. Danielle says, I think it's very honest and very awesome for you to say that you're confused right now, Gabby. Like, I think that is very honest. And Gabby's like, it scares the shit out of me. Maya is still drunk saying, I had a good time and now I got to go to bed. Then we cut to Lindsay's room going, I love you so much. And she seems tipsy. I love you so much. And she goes, you make my heart beat. Next morning, 9:03 a.m. Carl wakes her up and goes, hey, sweet cakes. It's time. I think it's time to go. And she goes, how much do you love me today, Carl? And he goes, 1,000 times, 1,000,000,000 plus 3 oceans. And she goes, oh my God. Gabby is in her bed going, how can I outsource the work for the Studio 50 Forest party today? And they're like, you're going to call people to set up? And she's like, yeah. Chris and Sam are downstairs fake boxing. They have way too much energy. Even when I watch from the bed, I'm like, oh, it's too much. Danielle calls her boyfriend Robert and goes, hey, Bubbo. And just says, well, hi, set up for a party today at 2. It's going to be fun. Love you, love you. Paige says, I can't wait to see Amanda. Maya says, she's downstairs in the kitchen. She's like, we're missing tequila in this house. And Danielle's like, yeah, and vodka. We need alcohol for this party. And they're like, Gabby, report to the kitchen. We got questions. We have no booze. Um, she's like, oh, booze. Okay. Okay, booze. Maybe she goes, I can order booze. Like, she really didn't know she was going to have to provide alcohol. And now it's like, guys, is whoever's working on the summer house, you got to send them at least an email going, we're not providing the booze. Like, this is wild. Like, the booze is not there. Like, fucking Kyle and Amanda aren't there one day, and all of a sudden there's no lover boys anywhere. I feel like that house should just have, like, just a ample supply. And then Gabby or somebody says, "Do we have food?" And Gabby goes, "It's not a food party. It's a drinking day party." And everybody's like, "What the fuck?" They're helping Gabby decorate out there, outside. It's like extra, extra, extra. They throw a disco ball in the hot tub, and Paige is like, "That looks sick." Maya and Sierra are talking in the kitchen, and Maya's like, "Girl, you know how I think I like things organized." I'm like, "Maya, do you? I've heard like so many people saying that you couldn't even get your cookies delivered. You couldn't even ship your cookies. Like, how organized could you possibly want things?" And she's like, yeah, Sierra's like, "I told Danielle, hire people." And Maya says, "I haven't really cracked the Gabby code yet." And Sierra's like, "Yeah, it's like she's very surface level. And I figured we'd have shared experiences as black women." And Sierra's like, "I just feel like she's missing out on the authenticity of it all." I'm like, "Really, Sierra? Authenticity? Do you want me to call Austin in for the party to talk about authenticity? It's like you're on for 3 seasons and all of a sudden you're like a deep soul. Like, come on, Sierra. We remember you in the first season. Like, come on. Like, I'm glad you're growing, but like, leave room for other people to catch. I don't know." We cut to Amanda and Kyle taking a ferry ride with the dogs. Congrats, you guys. I hope you're having a good. And by the way, I don't need to see him. You're not at the summer house. Really don't care about your family trip, and I didn't care about the 3 seconds of footage I saw in 3 different locations of whatever the fuck you were doing at your family trip. We didn't even see your family. We just saw you guys. Didn't need it. Sorry, I'm negative today. We cut to Carl and Sam and Chris and Lindsay working out. Once again, don't need to see it. Carl is sweating what looks like a boatload. He sweats like me. Also, can somebody tell me, like, is this like he was wearing some like rubber shirt that looked like it had spikes sticking out of it? It was very weird. Carl goes, "I love a good morning workout." And I was like, "Carl, I don't." And then he goes, "It's going to be a scorcher today." Oh my God. Kyle and Amanda are back. Chris says, "Are you going to be weird about that?" And Carl goes, "I'm doing my best to navigate this. I was so angry after Saturday night. I had to walk away from it." And, it's like, but have some respect for your friends. I don't want to be around that. We cut to Paige setting up for that Studio 54 party. And Paige is like, did Lindsay get mad when Carl wasn't sticking up for her to Danielle? And Danielle was like, "No, I mean, it's just such a passive way to handle it." And Gabby says, "Do you think they're just ignoring it?" And Danielle's like, "Yeah, because, they would have to face a lot of things like his sobriety and like, Lindsay's still drinking, like, and she took a shot last night." And everybody's like, "Yeah, it's fine." And Paige's like, "But it should be on her too." This is when it's like, I feel so weird. It's like all these people are talking about shit that they don't really know about. But then Sierra chimes in and goes, when my mom met my dad, he was an alcoholic and they couldn't have alcohol at their wedding because it was a trigger for him. And so we didn't have alcohol around the home when they were still together. And it's just, he's moving so fast and he's already in this serious relationship. And Paige says, "Danielle, do you feel like they're moving too fast?" And she goes, "Yeah, absolutely. They already bought a car and, he's looking at rings and they have a crazy expensive apartment." And everybody's like, "Oh my God, it's crazy, crazy." And it's like, it feels like it's a little, they say Carl feels like he's a little fragile. And that's kind of where Summer House ends. But I think the thing of like Lindsay having to face her drinking and stuff like that, I don't think they're ignoring things. They're obviously not ignoring things. If anybody's ignoring it, it's like Kyle obviously ignored it during the week. Is Carl supposed to chase Kyle down to like explain why Kyle had the bad behavior? I'm very confused about that. I do think they have a certain amount of points, but I also think now they're in this kind of this vortex of like all the problems are Carla and Lindsay. Their relationship sucks. And it's like their relationship is annoying, but I don't think it sucks. But I understand the worry and the concern. I think people genuinely like Carl and want him to remain sober. But if anything, I feel like this conversation should be turned around on its head of like, what's wrong with Kyle? Why does he continue to be like this? What's going on with Kyle? Why does he get so angry when he drinks? Like, to me, those are the real conversations that should be had. And it's not. And I find that so weird because I feel like everybody can agree that they don't like Lindsay, so that's the easier conversation to have. Who knows what's going to happen? I got to tell you, it's still fascinating to talk about with you guys. It really is. Like I could this is why I truly love what I do, and I truly really dig that you guys dig this as well, because even a bad episode is worth talking about, you know? So please join us tomorrow for the Patreon Live. I know if you can't be there, it'll be up later for you to watch. And I know it's Vanderpump Rules during the same time, like I said, but there's plenty of time to watch it. I will be watching it after I do the Patreon Live as well. And, you know, I think for Patreon members, we're doing a lot of Patreon stuff lately. So I hope you guys are really digging it like I'm digging it. And just real quick, thank you for all the nice messages for the people that heard the main feed pod today about what's going on with my mom. I'll just mention it really briefly here. The chemotherapy did not work, and we're going to end chemotherapy, and we're going to try some different things. I can't really speak much more on it about that, but it's been a really hard day for my mom. But she's doing great. And as soon as my ex gets back and I don't have my dog, which I think is going to be another week, I'm going to be able to be back there for a long time, and I'm looking forward to that. But thank you for everybody that has reached out and said really nice things to me, and I really appreciate that. And I'll talk to you guys very soon. Bye. How do I stop this? Oh my God. It's still going.